Hi guys, it's Sasha and welcome to my YouTube channel, Sasha Gibbs, She's Type Wonderful, a channel aimed at increasing awareness about type 1 diabetes. To do this, I show you some of the things I do on a day-to-day basis to manage life with such a chronic illness. I also show you bits and pieces from my life, talk about issues such as diet, exercise, mental health issues, and so many other topics. So if you are new here, welcome to my channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Now, in my video today, I want to talk about a statement that was made a couple of weeks ago. A statement was made that insulin is as cheap as water. Now, this statement basically goes against everything I've said so far on this channel, so I thought it necessary to do a video addressing this, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. So without further ado, let's get into it.
This time, this is my fight song. Take back my life song.
So the statement was made, insulin is as cheap as water. So this statement goes against everything that I've said so far on this channel. So of course I wanted to talk about it here. And when the statement was made, I saw so many things on social media, on Facebook, especially on Instagram. And Miss Diabetes, she did some photos and so on addressing it. And I wanted to recreate it, so I used the shots that Miss Diabetes had to talk about my thing in this video. So I have to give credit where it's due. These slides were done by Miss Diabetes, and I'll go ahead and add my own commentary. So this is a vial of insulin. This is what a vial looks like. And I use Fierce. This is a fast-acting insulin, and this is what I use in my insulin pump. Now, a little bottle such as this, it price varies, of course, based on the insurance that you have, but typically it retails for, with insurance, you'll pay maybe $300. And as I said, it varies. I've had cases where when I was first on Fias, but that's for another story. But when I was first on Fias, I had to change from Fias because when I went to the pharmacy, I was told that it was 500 plus, and I had to switch to Humalog because Fias was no longer on the formulary. So, but I'm going to use the 300 price that you can typically get it for $300. So this is about 10 milliliters. So to do some math, $300, 10 milliliters, we're paying about $30 per milliliter for the insulin. This bottle of Fiji water holds about 500 milliliters. 500 multiplied by 30 is 15,000. So if it were the same, if you wanted a bottle of Fiji water, you would be paying $15,000 if they were the same. So that's the first thing. Insulin is not as cheap as water. Now, Miss Diabetes, she showed these slides, and I'm going to put them up somewhere here. And these, of course, are just some things to think about. And it talks about water versus raindrop. If insulin was as cheap as water, then a raindrop would be worth $1.50. Can you imagine paying $1.50 for a raindrop? Think about it. Another thing that she presented was that if insulin is as cheap as water, a 10-minute shower would be worth $3.6 million. So can you imagine a 10-minute shower being worth $3.6 million? I know we would have a lot of smelly people walking around. I can imagine a lot of smelly people if you had to pay $3.6 million for a 10-minute shower. Another thing Miss Diabetes posted was that the water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool would actually be worth $75 billion. So Can you imagine then what would happen to the Olympics? Michael Phelps and all those fantastic swimmers, would they be even able to swim? $75 billion is what it would take to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool. If water costs the same as insulin, a double shot espresso would cost $1,800. Can you imagine that? What would happen to Starbucks and all our mom and pop coffee shops and so on? What would happen if a double shot espresso cost $1,800? And this was just, I think, made using simple images and contrasting it with the things that we do on a day-to-day basis to show you how expensive this little bottle is. And without this thing that I'm holding in my hand, I would not be able to survive, you know? And when this was invented, the patent was sold for, can you tell me how much? You would never guess how much the patent was sold for. The patent for insulin was sold for $1. Yes, I'm going to repeat it. It was sold for $1. And now in today's society, we have a case where people cannot afford to purchase their insulin, something that they cannot live without. People have to be crossing the border illegally to go to Mexico. CNN did a broadcast on it, or ABC, some report, I don't remember which station it was, showing how people are crossing into the Mexican border, crossing over the Mexican border rather, just so they can buy insulin. And the only difference in the insulin is that the instructions are in Espanol, okay? That's the only difference with the insulin. It's the same thing, but we here in the United States have to pay these ridiculous prices for insulin just to be able to live. I follow different diabetic communities and with type 1 diabetics from all over the world, and based on what they say, insulin is either free. In the UK, it's very affordable. In Canada, it is very affordable. In Australia, it is very affordable. In Europe, it is very affordable. So I am not sure what it is about the United States and Big Pharma, or who it is that is responsible for negotiating the prices that we pay all the big companies that have the Eli Lilly and all these companies that are responsible. I'm not sure, but people with type, we are human beings, and we have a right to life, and having affordable medication is something that should be made available to us. By no means am I advocating that we should pay $0 for insulin. In other countries, people do, but I'm not by any means going to say that, because I understand that there are production costs and things like that. But I do believe that it should not be out of reach for so many people that someone would have to ration their insulin just to be able to live. And then rationing insulin, it only delays the inevitable, because if you cannot take the appropriate dose of insulin based on what you're consuming, you are going to have consistently high sugars, and that affects your body in uncountable ways. Leads to different things. It may lead to amputations and things like that. So this is something that is very real to people who have type 1 diabetes, or even people who have type 2 diabetes, because as I covered previously, there are type 2 diabetics who do have to take insulin in order to manage their blood glucose levels. So I just felt it important to do this, and insulin is not as cheap as water. insulin still remains out of reach for so many people in the United States. And this is something I would love to see change and happen in my lifetime. So I thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something from this video. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so that as soon as I upload a video, you will be the first to know. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you for the next one.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand up.